Have you ever entered your house and felt like the walls were holding something heavy? A strange silence, tension in the air, sleepless nights, restless children, doors that creak for no reason, appliances that keep breaking, fights that start over nothing. You think it's just life, just stress, just coincidence. But what if it's not? Padre Pio, a man who carried the visible wounds of Christ and spent his life in spiritual combat, warned us about something that too many Catholics today ignore. Your home is a spiritual battlefield, and most people live in it completely unprotected. He said a house without a crucifix is like a heart without grace. It may look fine on the outside, but inside it is vulnerable to every kind of attack. The crucifix is not decoration. It's not just wood or metal. It is a weapon, a shield, a silent guardian that pushes back darkness when everything else fails. And yet, many of us treat it like a souvenir, forgotten on a shelf, collecting dust, while our families suffer in silence. Today, you're going to discover the real reason Padre Pio insisted every Catholic home must have a crucifix, and what happens when you honor it with faith. But first, I want to ask something simple. If you believe your home needs divine protection, click the like button now and subscribe to this channel, because we're about to uncover the powerful secrets Padre Pio left for those who still believe in spiritual warfare and in miracles. Let's begin. Padre Pio didn't carry a crucifix just to show his devotion. He held it like a soldier grips a sword. He kissed it during his deepest moments of suffering. He placed it over the sick, the dying, the desperate, because he knew what many have forgotten. The crucifix is protection, real protection, not just symbolic, not just decorative. He used to say that the enemy flees when the crucifix is lifted with true faith, because it's not the object itself that holds power. It's the victory it represents. The crucifix is the ultimate reminder that Christ already won the battle, and when that cross stands in your home, so does his authority. But here's the painful truth. Most homes today have no crucifix, or worse, they have one, but it's hidden, forgotten, buried under dust or placed so high on the wall, no one even looks at it. And the result? Houses where fear grows, marriages that break without warning, children who suffer in silence, people who pray but feel like nothing happens. Padre Pio warned us that spiritual attacks often begin subtly, through confusion, conflict, weariness. And unless something is standing at the door, watching over your house, they come in. That something is the crucifix. It's not magic. It's a visible declaration. As for me and my house, we serve the Lord. So if you have a crucifix at home, bring it down, clean it, honor it, pray in front of it. If you don't have one, it's time to get one, because the battle is real. And Padre Pio didn't fight it alone. Neither should you. Padre Pio once said, "The crucifix is a well of grace that never runs dry, but only those who approach with faith receive its water." What did he mean? He believed that when you truly honor a crucifix, not just hang it, but engage with it spiritually, three extraordinary graces begin to flow: protection, healing, and transformation. The first is protection. Countless testimonies tell of homes that were once full of fear, but after placing a crucifix at the entrance and praying with it daily, that fear lifted. Visitors even said, "I don't know why, but I feel peace here." That's not psychological, that's spiritual. The second is healing. Pio often encouraged the sick to hold a crucifix close to their chest while praying. Many reported that pain became lighter, not always gone, but bearable. And some experienced unexplainable recoveries, not because of magic, but because suffering, when united with the cross, becomes redemptive. The third is transformation. Padre Pio saw homes change completely after reintroducing the crucifix. Couples who always argued found moments of silence and tenderness. Children started asking questions about Jesus again. Even the way people talked, softer, slower, with more patience. because where the crucifix is honored, grace enters. But Padre Pio warned, these powers are not automatic. You can't treat the crucifix like furniture and expect miracles. You must activate it with prayer, with love, with intentional faith. So take a moment today. Look at the crucifix in your home. Is it just hanging there, or is it part of your spiritual life? Because if you begin treating it like the holy weapon it is, you won't just decorate your house, you'll change its destiny. Padre Pio was clear. Having a crucifix in your home is not enough. It must be alive, it must be honored, it must be activated, and yet so many people fall into the same 5 traps, and without knowing it, they block the very grace they're begging God to send. The first mistake? Treating the crucifix like a decoration, something to match the furniture or fill a wall. The crucifix isn't a frame, it's a flag, a spiritual banner that announces, this house belongs to Christ. The second mistake? Placing it too high or too hidden, where no one sees it, touches it, or prays before it. Padre Pio said, a crucifix that is never looked at becomes silent. Third, it was never blessed. If your crucifix hasn't been blessed by a priest, it's still just an object. It hasn't been consecrated for spiritual battle. Fourth, it's disconnected from prayer. You never stop in front of it. You never light a candle. You never speak to the one on the cross. And the fifth, the most painful, it's covered in dust, forgotten, ignored, just hanging there, like a photo no one remembers. Pio warned, these small things create spiritual cracks, and where cracks exist, the enemy creeps in. So I want to ask you, with love and honesty, have you made any of these mistakes in your home? Be brave. Write in the comments, I need to wake up the cross in my house, because admitting it is not weakness. It's the first step to reclaiming the spiritual protection that has always been waiting for you, just behind that cross. Padre Pio used to say that a crucifix sees more than we do, that it doesn't just hang on the wall, it watches, it listens, it protects. But it matters where you place it. He warned against putting the crucifix in places no one ever sees. He said it should stand like a watchman at the gates of the soul. That's why he recommended placing it in 4 key areas of the home, above the front door, as a spiritual seal, blessing everyone who enters and leaves. A silent protector against invisible forces trying to come in. In the bedroom, because the night is when the soul is most exposed. Looking at the cross before sleep brings peace and shields your dreams. In the living room, the place where most conversations, tensions, and emotions rise. When the cross is present, people speak differently. Near the kitchen or family table, as a reminder of gratitude, provision, and unity. Some people even place a small candle beneath the crucifix, especially at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m., the hours Padre Pio called windows of mercy, when heaven feels closest. It's not superstition. It's spiritual positioning. When you honor the crucifix visibly and intentionally, something shifts in the home. The atmosphere gets lighter. Arguments feel less aggressive. Kids become more calm. It doesn't mean there won't be problems, but it changes the spirit in which they're faced. So today, look around your home. Where is your crucifix? Is it watching over the battle or buried behind it? If it's not central, bring it back to where it belongs. At the heart of your home, and at the center of your life. Padre Pio never slept without praying in front of the crucifix. Even in his final hours, it was the last thing he looked at. He said that the night is when souls are most vulnerable, not just physically, but spiritually. In sleep, our defenses lower, our minds wander, our fears surface. And without spiritual covering, the night can become a battlefield. That's why he gave a simple but powerful instruction. Place the crucifix beside your bed, look at it before you close your eyes, and whisper this prayer, into your hands, Lord, I entrust this night. It seems small, but it changes everything. People who've made this a habit report sleeping more peacefully, dreaming less chaotically, waking up calmer, even when the world outside is still in chaos. Because the crucifix isn't just an object, it's a spiritual companion. Some light a candle, others touch it to their forehead or hold it for a minute in silence. The gesture is simple, but heaven sees it, and the power of that one act, one moment of surrender, is stronger than 1,000 anxious thoughts. Remember, the enemy loves confusion, fear, and exhaustion, but the crucifix calms, clears, and strengthens. So tonight, don't just scroll your phone. Don't fall asleep numb or angry. Look at the one who gave everything for you, and give him everything, even your sleep. Let the crucifix stand by your side while you rest, because while you close your eyes, he never does. Padre Pio spent much of his life caring for the sick. He didn't just pray for them, he sat beside them, listened to their fears, watched them fight battles that no one else could see. He always carried a crucifix with him when he entered a hospital room or visited someone in pain. He believed it was not just for comfort but for battle. He would place the crucifix gently on the chest of someone who was suffering and ask them to look at it, not just glance, but really see it. He told them to hold it with both hands, even if they were weak, even if their fingers were shaking. He knew that in those moments when pain takes over the body and fear begins to rise in the mind, the crucifix becomes a visible anchor, not just a religious symbol, but a line connecting earth to heaven. There were moments, he said, when everything medical had been done, and still the person found no peace. That's when he would lift the crucifix and pray. Sometimes the pain didn't stop, but something changed. The fear would lift, the restlessness would calm, the tears would fall more freely, not from despair, but from a strange kind of strength that returned to the person. He often said that the crucifix doesn't remove suffering, but it gives it meaning. And when suffering has meaning, the soul can endure more than the body ever could on its own. If you or someone you love is sick right now, don't just leave them with medicine and silence. Place a crucifix nearby, light a candle, say a prayer, and let that crucifix remind both of you, you're not alone in that room. There are homes where something just feels off. You walk in and no one needs to say a word. The atmosphere says everything. The silence isn't peaceful, it's suffocating. The rooms are cold even when the sun is out. The children are restless. People snap at each other over small things. Appliances break without explanation. Doors creak for no reason. And worst of all, there's an invisible weight pressing down, day and night. Padre Pio saw this often. People would come to him complaining of anxiety, tension, confusion, and the first thing he would ask was this: do you have a crucifix in your home? And if you do, is it honored or forgotten? He believed that when a crucifix is present and alive, prayed before, seen, respected, it changes everything, not just spiritually but emotionally and physically. He once said, "When the cross is honored, disorder flees." Many families reported that simply placing a crucifix in the center of their home and lighting a candle in front of it for a few minutes each day began to shift the atmosphere. Arguments became less aggressive. The air felt lighter. Visitors commented, "I don't know why, but your house feels peaceful." It's not superstition, it's spiritual alignment. If you've ever felt a heaviness in your home that you couldn't explain, a spiritual fog that just won't lift, go to the comments now and write, "Jesus, bring peace to my home through the cross." That one sentence could be your act of faith, and heaven always listens to those who speak from the heart. Padre Pio said something that many people never forgot. He said, "The crucifix can change the destiny of a family." He didn't mean that problems disappear overnight. But he did believe that when a crucifix is honored daily, something shifts, not just in the home, but in the future that home is walking toward. He saw couples who were ready to separate begin to reconcile after praying together in silence before the cross. He knew parents whose children had left the church, who started to return when they saw their mother or father simply kiss the crucifix each morning. He met elderly people who said they had lived through war, poverty, and illness, but the one thing that kept them from giving up was the crucifix hanging above their front door. When the cross is present and when it is alive in the family's daily life, it begins to influence decisions, soften words, change habits. It creates a spiritual climate where grace flows more freely, not because life becomes easier, but because the soul becomes stronger. The crucifix doesn't remove the cross you carry, but it reminds you that you never carry it alone. If your family is walking through a dark season, whether it's health, financial struggles, disconnection, or fear, let the crucifix become your starting point. Make space for it again, clean it, light a candle, pray, and believe that something unseen is already beginning to shift, because Padre Pio was right. One cross, placed with faith, can change the direction of an entire generation. You've made it to the end of this message. That means something inside you recognizes the truth of it. Maybe you've felt it for a while. Maybe this video just put it into words. But now, it's time to take action. Spiritual changes begin with physical decisions. So here's what I invite you to do. Right now, like this video. Not just because it helps the channel, but because it tells the platform that this kind of message matters. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Because you're not just watching a video, you're joining a spiritual movement, one where faith is alive, where homes are protected, where Padre Pio's wisdom is brought back to life for this generation. If you watched until here, I want to know your part of this journey. Go to the comments and write, "I choose to live under the protection of the cross." Let it be your declaration of faith today. And before you leave, there's one more thing you should do. Watch the next video. Never sleep without this prayer, Padre Pio's night warning. Because your nights matter as much as your days. And when the cross watches over you, sleep becomes peace, not vulnerability. We'll see you there. God bless you.